When Donald Trump ran for president, he promised to institute a 100-day action plan to make America great again. As the 100-day mark approaches, how is he doing? Reason presents the 3 worst and the 3 best achievements of President Trump's first 100 days.
Bing, bing, bing. We will be able to immediately repeal and replace Obamacare.
Along with his pledge to build a wall on the southern border and deport illegal immigrants en masse, Trump's campaign was all about ramming through the Repeal and Replace Obamacare Act, which would have cut red tape, gotten rid of the individual mandate, and created a true marketplace for medical insurance. Instead, thanks to the president's own lack of savvy and GOP dithering, it didn't even get a proper vote in Congress.
Bing, bing, bing.
President Trump has just ordered a military strike on Syria.
The one action for which President Trump has received bipartisan praise was the bombing of a Syrian government airbase to protest the alleged use of chemical weapons by the Assad regime. Even opposition leaders such as Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer signed on to a starkly humanitarian intervention that served no greater purpose than rallying voters here in America.
Bing, bing, bing.
The president has issued 2 executive decrees calling for a moratorium on travel from several majority Muslim countries and the suspension of America's refugee program. Both have been stayed by federal courts, and it remains unclear if either will ever become the law of the land.
We only want to admit those into our country who will support our country.
Regardless, it's anti-American to effectively establish a religious test for travelers and migrants here. And it also undermines attempts to reach out to the vast majority of Muslims who are the primary targets of Islamic fundamentalism.
Bing, bing, bing.
Judge Neil Gorsuch.
The nomination of an intellectually powerful and highly respected jurist to replace the late Antonin Scalia on the Supreme Court demonstrated that President Trump isn't the flake that many critics figured him to be.
So was that a surprise? Was it?
Neil Gorsuch might not be a libertarian, but he is, in the estimation of Georgetown Law's Randy Barnett, a serious thinker who believes that government power is and should be limited.
Bing, bing, bing.
There's no question that Trump has picked some terrible cabinet members. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has openly talked about ramping up the war on pot in states where it's legal, for instance.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
He also defends asset forfeiture abuse and has hinted at reviving federal porn prosecutions as well. But picks such as Ajit Pai at the Federal Communications Commission, Scott Gottlieb at the Food and Drug Administration, and Scott Pruitt at the Environmental Protection Agency are serious deregulators who are already starting to prune back regulations that accomplish little but cost taxpayers and innovators lots of time, money, and resources.
Bing, bing, bing.
Every new president enters office thinking he can direct the course of human history via his pen, or in the case of Trump, his Twitter feed. For all his bluster and lack of self-awareness, Trump is also learning that the world is more complicated than he reckoned. He's pushed back deadlines for all sorts of projects, from funding for his stupid and useless immigration wall to a timeline for tax reform, which shows that he's at least living in the real world. To the extent he realizes that his best path forward is in cutting economic regulations rather than vilifying immigrants, renegotiating trade deals, and starting new wars, he'll not only be a better president, he'll create a better America, too. For Reason, I'm Nick Gillespie.